everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, how you doing, my good buddy?
Hey, Crudy, I am fantastic. Happy Monday to you, my friend. You know, we have all day to prepare for this show, but it always seems like the last few minutes we're just kind of rushing around a little bit.
Necessity is the mother of invention, I hear. Yeah. Why plan? Why not just wing it? We don't wing it per se, do we?
Not per se. We're always thinking
not
about
exactly. Hey, buddy,
everybody prepares differently, man.
We even had a decided upon lead before we got here today.
I know. What's going on here?
If you know what's good of the order stuff, State Senator Tim Carpenter is going to join us bottom of the hour. That means 3:30-ish. Senator Carpenter will discuss with us the Foxconn and the fact that although he is on the WEDC board, they don't want to show them, meaning the WEDC board members, what's being negotiated with the Foxconn.
Come on, man. Isn't that why we have elected officials? We elect them, they sign the deals, and tell us how great it was later.
Something like that. Also, Scott Grabens, he is the chair of the Republican Party of Dane County. I did a show with him one time. I think it was Newman's show. Well, Scott's coming on this big show in the 5 o'clock hour, and he's going to tell us Democrats are the real party of the KKK.
What?
Well, that's what
we're gonna get a history lesson today.
I'm not clear. Scott made a big, bold statement, and PolitiFact said false. But, you know, we've had our issues with PolitiFact ourselves once or twice. So I'm going to give Scott a little rope and see if he hangs himself. That should be fun in the
Probably
happy
not
hour.
A great analogy considering the topic, but all right, Crudy, we'll go along with it.
At least I didn't call it a lynching.
Right.
Coming up, Dom, let's talk about this. Matthew DeFord, this story broke over the course of the weekend. I found the timing conspicuous, you know. Certain stories got to get buried behind a Badger game, and this seemed to be one of them. Matt DeFore, our friend at the Wisconsin State Journal, reports WEDC threatens legal action against Kestrel Aircraft as another deal goes south. And I don't think that means to Mexico or Illinois in this case, Tom. A day before Democrats, and listen closely, the timing. A day before Democrats submitted a petition to recall him in 2012, Governor Scotty Wanker flew to Superior to announce a $20 million award for an aviation startup, promising to create 665 jobs and to invest more than $50 million in the state.
Well, he's been selling economic growth in the state since he's been elected.
Day before the recall petition was submitted, right?
Yes, conspicuous timing.
Oh, buddy, he was so proud that day. I think we got some sound. We're going to share it, but let me read one more paragraph. 5 years later, Kestrel Aircraft has defaulted on its loan repayments after investing $1.4 million in creating 25 jobs, and the Wisconsin Economic Development Corp says it's initiating legal action against the company. Why'd it take him 5 years?
Yeah, why now?
Well, why now? Because, of course, Walker's got to put some closure behind him.
Before the next one?
Dom, I read on briefly. The Sauer Kestrel deal is the latest reminder of how hasty decision-making and loose financial controls in WEDC's early days have cost taxpayers. Very little evidence that it's improved since, but I read, and though the agency has put in place several safeguards since 2013,
oh, good.
The early missteps continue to dog WEDC as it negotiates the largest taxpayer-backed corporate incentive deal in U.S. history. Oh, it inspires confidence.
Well, you see how good they did with Kestrel. They'll do much better with the safeguards now with Foxconn. I'm sure of it.
Dom, last week, and we'll talk about this with Senator Carpenter shortly. Last week, the WEDC board delayed a scheduled vote on nearly $3 billion worth of awards to a Taiwanese manufacturer, Foxconn, when an unspecified nuclear bomb-sized problem with the contract was identified shortly before the vote was to occur.
Note to self, ask Carpenter what the nuclear bomb was.
Yes, we will make a note to ourselves. Dom, here's one other interesting part.
Yeah, I want to get into this. We'll jump forward a little bit in Matthew DeFore's fine article. What's the background on this? He lays it out for us. No staff report for Kestrel. The Kestrel project is one of more than 24 from WEDC's early days for which the agency didn't prepare a formal staff underwriting report.
I didn't know we needed one of those.
In May of 2015, the Wisconsin State Journal reported on a failed $500,000 loan to a Milwaukee-based building committee, Inc., the first public example of a deal for which no underwriting report could be found.
Nor can any of the other documents, although I bet if you look in Mike Hipsch's furnace, you might find a few of them.
Oh, Mike Hipsch was the one who personally shepherded that BCI. Uniquely. But I continue from DeFore's reporting. An agency policy requiring a staff review report wasn't put into place until 2013. But such reports exist for most of the awards from the agency's first 2 years.
But not this one, Dom, not the Kestrel Air one. Why do you think this one was rushed to press?
Why do you think, man? He had to get in front of the recall news. In an interview, Paul Jaden, former WEDC secretary and now CEO of the Madison Region Economic Partnership, said some awards didn't have staff reviews, which at the time were presented to the agency's top executives before contracts were finalized because an agency executive, rather than an underwriter, led the review. In other cases, such as Kestrel, Walker's public announcement occurred before the Management Review Committee took place. Jaden said,
What?
Here's what he said. I think we may well have had to forego the Management Review Committee to meet the deadline for that press conference, but that doesn't mean the deal was rushed.
Yes, it absolutely does. If you didn't do the staff review and you rolled out the big ol' incentive anyways, mostly for a political opportunity for the governor, the gubernator, and then 5 years later, and it's taken 5 years, it shouldn't have taken this long for us to start to claw back some of the taxpayers' money because, of course, this was folly from the get-go, Dom.
Well, no, listen, it's one thing to have an underwriter. That's how most things are done in this manner. But there wasn't even that. It was a an agency executive who reviewed it.
Or would have, had it not been for the timing of the press conference.
So it didn't even do it in this case. But, Curdy, the most important thing about this is let's turn back the clock. I wish we should have some sound for that. Go back in time and let's hear Governor Scott Walker. It sounds very familiar, giving us the same old pitch. Brian, if you would please, let's play Cut 104, Kestrel, Walker. These are not just Republican or Democratic jobs.
This was the announcement made that day, the day before the recall was announced, 5 years ago when Walker was trying to brag about what a transformative deal this might be. Play Cut 104.
For us, we talk about a job announcement like this. They're not Republican jobs, they're not Democrat jobs, they're just Wisconsin jobs, in this case, Northwestern Wisconsin jobs. And we appreciate your presence here and your leadership when it comes to economic development issues as well. As lawmakers.
You got one Democrat in the room, so it's, bipartisan, this effort.
For us, we talk about, jobs.
Well, he's facing a recall, and of course he wants to act like he's acted in a very bipartisan fashion. Don't mind the Act 10 out there.
And the recall. But, of course, Crudy's jobs. He's going to create 250,000 jobs.
So many jobs.
Let's play the next one, please.
This is a great opportunity for us today. We're talking about 600 new jobs in a community that obviously in this part of the state needs jobs, but we're talking about the land. 600 jobs is a big announcement anywhere in the state of Wisconsin. So the fact that it's right here secure is even more special. I think the closest we've had in the past year was down in Sturtevant a couple months back. We announced 469 new jobs at a company called Root Lighting, and that was rare. And for us, it's not just the 600 jobs being announced today, it's the fact that this hopefully is the first of many steps of adding even more jobs.
Even more.
More than 600 jobs.
Oh, man. See, it seems like he's saying the same kinds of thing again.
Well, Dom, when you insert a big, investment opportunity like this, it's not just a localized benefit.
No.
It becomes a regional sort of thing, much like the Foxconn is purported to do. Let's try that one. The next one on the list, Cut 106.
And that we can help a region, not just one side of a lake or one side of a river or one side of a state water, but we can work together in a region. And in this case, this is going to be a tremendous opportunity for people not only to become employed, but to really be part of something special.
Something special. A lawsuit.
Let's skip Cut 107, but let's go to Cut 108 because, it's only patriotic to sign a deal like this. This is transformative not just for the region, not just for the state, but perhaps for the country.
The United States of America.
Played for the people, 108.
We have that opportunity again today, not just with electronics, like maybe a Gates or Jobs, but with a new age of aircraft. With Kestrel being able to lead the way in providing not only new aircraft, but doing so in a way that makes it more affordable and more attractive to people who maybe not had access to aircraft in the past. That's the sort of thing that will help not only our state, but our country.
Our country. Do it for the country.
God bless America.
A couple more paragraphs before we wind this up back to the DeFore piece. Investing in a startup aviation company is much riskier proposition than a typical startup, said Bill Bauer, a retired aerospace engineer from Albuquerque, New Mexico, where Eclipse Aviation went bankrupt in 2008 after trying to build an aircraft similar to Kestrel's with more than $500 million in investments. Here's what he said. If you had a bunch of people on the state board looking at this and there was nobody who really knew anything about the aircraft business, they might get all starry-eyed and thinking this is getting into show business. If anybody on that board had talked to anybody in the aviation business, they would have rolled their eyes and thought, you ought to look into that, because everyone knows boutique aviation is loaded with dreamers and crackpots and con artists.
And Wanker's a believer.
Yeah, especially if you can roll it out the day before your recall election.
That was 2012. 5 years later, the Wisconsin taxpayers are seeking our money back. And about time they rolled out a lawsuit. I wondered about the BCI Minahan. When are the indictments going to flow out of that deal? And let's not forget, Walker, with conspicuous political timing, another election around the corner, wants to hoist another fine deal on the taxpayers. This one, Foxconn. Don't get conned, Wisconsin. Come back. More Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open to you, 844-967-2789.
Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work.
They can go suck lemons.
How does this relate to our discussion of the uses of irony?
Anyone? Anyone?
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability and performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 59s.com. That's the number 5, Nines.com.
Pete's Fruit Market, a family-owned business serving Milwaukee for more than a generation, now has a brand new second location at the corner of North Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive in Milwaukee's Brunsville neighborhood. The new store is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week and always features the freshest fruits and vegetables at the lowest prices. In addition to offering the best produce, Pete's Fruit Market is also a full-line grocery store featuring fresh meats and delicious deli items. Pete's Fruit Market, Milwaukee's best produce.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Well, you guys are having a good show so far.
Hey, could you say that again? Just not for our sake, Paul, but for the sake of the audience.
Yeah, tell everybody once again what a great show we are having.
You guys have a good show almost every day.
Wow, almost. All right, thanks for calling, Paul. I'm just kidding.
okay, every day.
Tweet some shade at you, Paul.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
In Wisconsin, the laws are the same for bicyclists and motorists, so if you bike, ride with the traffic and obey signs and lights. Whether you ride a bike or drive a car, you must yield the right-of-way to pedestrians at marked and unmarked crosswalks. At intersections, always look for pedestrians before making a turn and slow down in school zones and neighborhoods to keep our kids safe. Share and be aware. We're all responsible. Visit shareandbeaware.org to learn more.
Mark your calendars. Wednesday, November 8th, the ACLU of Wisconsin's Bill of Rights celebration, a year of resistance at the Italian Conference Center in Milwaukee. Dinner and award ceremony starts at 5. After party starts at 8, Dom.
Crudy, the keynote speaker, is the National ACLU Political Director, Faz Shakir. Tickets for the whole evening, $100 per person, or just come to party with the Devil's Advocates and music from Madison's own Whiskey Farm for just $25.
The ACLU is honoring Planned Parenthood, the NAACP Youth Commandos of 1967, the brave plaintiffs in their case against conditions at Lincoln Hills, and the lead plaintiff in the voter ID case.
The ACLU of Wisconsin's Bill of Rights celebration, Wednesday, November 8th. Go to aclu-wi.org for tickets and more information.
I only drink when I feel good. I've got what I love and I love what I've got. It just so happens I'm happy a lot.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
The Devil's Advocates, where there's always time for Scott Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, WRRD. We're on YouTube, Facebook, streaming live right now. Of course, on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Dominic State Senator Tim Carpenter, a good Dem from Milwaukee, joins us soon. He's a WEDC board member. Going to talk a little Foxconn. But the Goobinator, he was off selling this weekend. I used to think I was a hell of a salesman. But nothing like this guy.
No, man, just get up and talk.
I mean, this guy somehow has, basically packaged himself up as a decent human being, despite all evidence to the contrary. He's not smart. He doesn't govern well, doesn't really do math so well. And mostly these giveaway, these corporate welfare deals, these shills to foreign corporations, they're really all about him. I mean, just look at the timing. Every couple election cycles, Scott Walker wants to give away oodles of taxpayers' money.
And put it in the context of this is good for the taxpayers, for the citizens, for the workers, the region,
the nation,
the world.
Thank God for Scott Walker. He went on the Fox and Friends this week.
Wait, we still have that other one. We have one to wrap up.
We're going to save that one.
You're going to save that one?
Yeah, let's keep that one for later.
Oh, it's a good one.
Keep your powder dry.
Well, Crudy, you mentioned, of course, Scott Walker always out there selling. He was on Fox and Friends, I guess, yesterday discussing the GOP tax plan. And this goes together in the same context. Listen to the man talk. Listen to him answer the question, how do you sell a GOP tax plan? Hell, he sold Kestrel the day before his recall. Let's see how he did yesterday on the Fox and Friends. Cut 1, please.
We just got to talk to people. Instead of talking about doubling the itemized deductions, talk about, say, the first $24,000 of your paycheck, you get tax-free. If they talk about, they're changing the tax code, say, if you got a house, if you got kids, if you give to your church, like a lot of people are going to do this morning, all those things are covered under this tax plan. It works for everyday Americans. It works for employers. It works for bringing more jobs back from overseas. This is a good package, and it's something we should have done a long time ago. They should have done months ago, and I'm hoping they'll get passed right quick to help get the economy going, just like we've done in states like Wisconsin and others across America.
Well, gee willikers.
Right quick there, huh?
If he can only get this plan sold, marketed, packaged off to the sheeple, I mean, if you sell it right, if you package it right, it sounds great. It doesn't sound at all like tax cuts for the very wealthiest and corporations.
Let's get one more in. Continuing on, Scott Walker yesterday, Fox and Friends. Those Dems, they pick out 1 or 2 bad examples. Cut 2.
Well, I think what you see is this rhetoric. It's the same playbook you see in Wisconsin, you see across the nation. Anytime Republicans talking about giving you back more of your money. Remember, this is the American people's money. This isn't the government's money. But anytime they talk about it, they try and pick 1 or 2 people that might benefit and say, well, look, this person gets that amount or that person gets that amount. I think what we found here in Wisconsin is that property and income taxes for everyone across the board will be lower in 2018 than they were when we started in 2011, and that's good news for our economy. It's why more people are employed here than ever before. Our cumulative tax relief in this state will, by the end of our latest state budget, from the time we started, will exceed $8 billion. That's why the economy is humming. People are heading in the right direction. And just last week, we announced another budget surplus in this state, and our bond rating by 3 different agencies went up. That shows that if you cut taxes, you give people more of their money back, they'll put it right back into the economy, and that'll help more people get more jobs and better wages.
Trickle down.
We have so many ways we trail the nation. 50th in entrepreneurship. We'll talk about that later. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocate. State Senator Tim Carpenter, WEDC board member. We're going to talk Foxconn and nuclear bombs when we come back.
I love being governor.
Oh, good for you.
Wanker.
Chris Abley and Board Chair Theo Lipscomb have different plans for Milwaukee County. For the past 6 years, Chris Abley has balanced Milwaukee County's budget, reduced debt, and protected vital services without raising property taxes. Abley's fiscally responsible budget proposal this year continues the progress we've made toward a more sustainable future for Milwaukee County. Abley is putting people back to work, but Theo's cuts would end job training programs. Abley's budget maintained, but Theo Lipscomb has a different plan. Theo isn't willing to make the hard choices and is demanding devastating service cuts to our roads and keeps public transit affordable. But Theo's cuts would slash bus routes and delay road repairs. Abley is fighting to keep our parks and senior centers open, but Theo's cuts could shut them down. And while Abley's budget tackles the opioid epidemic, Theo's cuts would hurt public health and make our communities less safe. Call your county supervisor. Tell them to support Chris Abley's budget for Milwaukee County. Paid for by Chris Abley for County Executive.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
They can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hi, I'm Brian Kelly, and I'm host of the Wisconsin News Hour weekdays from 2 to 3 on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Join me as I talk about politics with a focus on local news.
Man, I've got certain information, all right? Certain things have come to light.
I know enough to know what I don't know, which is more than I can say for most people.
Forget it, Donnie. You're out of your element.
The Wisconsin News Hour with Brian Kelly, weekdays from 2 to 3 on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Good afternoon. It is 3:32 for 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. The Menominee Tribe has purchased the naming rights for the Wisconsin Herd's new arena in Oshkosh. The Herd of the minor league affiliate of the Milwaukee Bucks. Terms of the 5-year sponsorship were not released. The new arena is expected to open in time for the Herd's first home game on November 17th. Packers lost this weekend to the Saints, 26-17, although Aaron Rodgers' surgery went surprisingly well, although he's still out for most of the season. The Milwaukee Bucks take on the Charlotte Hornets tonight at the Bradley Center. Tonight, rain after 1 a.m., lows in the upper 40s. Tomorrow, rain likely, highs in the upper 40s. And Wednesday, partly sunny, highs around 50. Currently, it's 53 degrees in Milwaukee and 51 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we'd like to welcome a fine guest back to this fine program. His name's State Senator Tim Carpenter, a fine Dem from Milwaukee. Tim, welcome back to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me. Hope you're having a good day.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, it got a little better when you called on time. We appreciate it. Senator, I should also make note of the fact you are a WEDC board member, and WEDC is currently tasked with negotiating the Foxconn deal. Tim, how much of this is happening transparently for the public to see? You know, I'm an inquisitive sort. I'd like to know what's going on. Would there be any way for me to know what was going on during these negotiations, sir?
It would be very hard because this process began 5-6 months ago when the governor started negotiating or talking with Foxconn, and I've been kept in the dark all the way through this entire process. I spent the time going to listen to the 9 hours of debate at Joint Finance in Madison, the one down in Sturtevant, was there for the Assembly debate, the Senate debate. And from the get-go, it's been Governor Walker controlling a lot of information so that possibly he doesn't look good or the terms of the contract aren't there. So my job is to try and ask those questions, and this is the last line of defense, is WEDC, and that's not a good place to be in, but at least the board members should know more of the details to be able to vote on this before we start giving away billions of dollars to a foreign corporation.
Well, Tim, I have seen the cocktail napkin, but it does seem a little light on details, sir. When will we flush these details out? My understanding was WEDC was supposed to have voted on this last week. Apparently a delay. Tim, is this a delay of prudence? And will more information flush out, or is it just, more behind closed doors activity, sir?
Well, I voted against going into closed session last Tuesday because I do think the WDC has not been transparent. It's not had a good track record of protecting taxpayer dollars or coming through the jobs. I mean, there's a recent situation that came out about Kestrel. It's a airplane manufacturing firm that was supposed to create, I believe, 600 jobs, and we gave them $4 million. WDC did not do a good job on that in terms of trying to get the money back when they failed. So finally, they're going to be taking legal action, and the chances of getting our millions of dollars back is like slim to none. And at the same breath, we're taking $3.8 billion and entrusting it to WEDC without having a lot of knowledge for people exactly about the clawback provisions. And I tried to get them to postpone a vote. I received the information staff review on Friday the 13th at 8 o'clock at night. Went through it, and I said I have 2 pages of concerns. I want to protect taxpayers, want to make sure we get the jobs. And I was told no, they were going to continue with the vote. But then they found this nuclear bomb that their own folks, I don't know if it was their legal counsel, but found out that something was in there that wouldn't protect the taxpayers, and the contract couldn't go on without it. So it just goes to show you that it's important to see the contract to make sure all of the details are there and to understand the contract. WDC is not an elected board. There are 4 elected officials on there. But we have to make sure we get this right. And given Foxconn's background of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and all the other places, I just don't have a lot of trust in this whole thing.
Well, there's plenty of blame to spread around on the Kestrel deal, but Tim, as I understand the reporting, Governor Scott Walker is the one that got in front of the staff review. Governor Scott Walker is the one that had the press conference to get out in front of the recall petition that was being submitted the next day. Is it possible that some of this bad math, this bad deal, is attributable to the governor's haste to make political points, Tim?
I certainly do think that Governor Walker, I served with him when he was in the Assembly, and he's certainly changed since then with Act 10 and other things. I believe one of the reasons why they wanted to force the vote on October 17th was in time for the governor's announcement to announce his reelection campaign on November 5th, a Sunday. And I think that's one of the reasons that played out, that they wanted to get the vote done, and they found a big mistake there and had to pull it back. And so just as it was political to be out in front, they didn't do a staff review on Kestrel, needed it for the recall. The same thing's coming up. He hasn't met his job quota of 250,000 people, but now he's gone off on this very secretive process of Foxconn, and it's very frustrating not to be heard on something this important.
You're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Newstalk 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. We are speaking with State Senator Tim Carpenter. He's a Dem from Milwaukee, also a Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation board member. Tim, got to ask you straight up, what was the nuclear bomb that they discovered, and who missed it in the first place?
Well, I had 2 pages of questions that I wanted to have asked about protecting the taxpayers' clawbacks, making sure, a certain level of employees were going to be hired, things of that nature. They screwed up on a lot of things, but the one issue that they had found out, and I can't go into the details, but it would have made the whole deal fall apart. And it basically had to do if Foxconn, this didn't work out, and we invested all of this money into Foxconn, that we probably weren't going to get it back. That is just one big nuclear bomb for me. That,
like the worst possible reaction to this deal. If it was signed as it was, it could have gone south and we'd have been on the hook. This seems like a logical a thing that would have been addressed. I got to ask you, though, Senator, why can't you talk about it? Is this because it was in closed session, or what's the deal on that?
Part of it's closed session. I can talk, and I've been in. I'm on the State Fair Park Board, and we've had closed sessions dealing with issues of the Milwaukee Metropolitan Surge District. So there are some things, that should be or need to be discussed in some of these closed sessions. But the only thing is, those other boards that I served on or commission, they've had more information out there to supplement so that people kind of know what's going on. With Foxconn, it's not the case. We're trying to glean information. There's basic stuff out there, but there isn't enough to make a intelligent, informed decision on this whole issue. And my concern, I voted against it in the state Senate, and we tried adding provisions to protect, the level of jobs, the environmental issues, everything, but we were shut down. And my concern is with WDC, they're trying to shut us down and not share information. There's certain things that WDC could have a open statement before the closed session to let people be briefed or let people know about some of this information, but they're not doing that. So that's why I keep on asking, I want to see the contract. I need to see the contract. I want to know the details because I'm going to be held accountable on the way I vote.
Tim, predicated on the enormity of this deal, do they think the Wisconsinites just can't handle the truth? Or do you think this is purposeful? Do you think they don't want us to know just how bad a boondoggle this might indeed be, sir?
Well, certainly Republicans have been very good at sort of being able to ram things through and not be open. I didn't support the Milwaukee Bucks arena, but that was an example of taxpayer money going into a facility, but some Democrats voted for it because they did have protections for the taxpayers about cost overruns and labor agreements. But with Foxconn, the very next year after we passed the Bucks arena bill, Foxconn comes along, and the whole process from the beginning, Governor Walker told us to go suck lemons. Well, we were given lemons, tried to make lemonade, couldn't do that, and all we're left is to, follow his political discussion of saying, hey, if you oppose me, you can go suck lemons. We don't want to hear what you have to say. And later on, when he's gone, he's running for president, he's not going to be around when these things start falling apart. He'll be off and, being a consultant for Fox News, something like that, but we're going to be stuck with the bill.
Well, Tim, when the governor gives you lemons, just add vodka. But let me ask you, is this such a great stretch to ask to want to see an actual contract before you vote on it? I mean, how is that not normal operating procedure in any other situation that I have ever been in the private sector? And I realize the governor has not been in the private sector for some time, Senator. You see the document before you sign it.
Yep, absolutely. That's my point. I sent out the press release, and I've been begging for it. I've done everything except go down on my knees and beg to see the contract. But they're in control. They control the WDC. They control the legislature, everything in state government. And so my concern is that we're going to be forced to vote on WDC's staff interpretation of the law, which leaves a lot of fudge room. Right. And I don't know of anybody that's sort of buying a house without signing a contract and seeing it before you sign. And so what we're going to do, $3.8 billion, we're not going to give it extra scrutiny. And after, WDC votes, that's it. They're going to go off, and there's nothing we can do after the vote is taken at WDC.
But Tim, as I understand this legislation, sir, not only are we supposed to buy this whopper sight unseen, we don't even have the right to, let's call it a home inspection after the fact. There will be, no DNR, environmental impact studies. We don't know what sort of destruction will happen after the fact either. Tim, how concerning is this aspect? How incorporated in the language of the contract will be the stripping back of Wisconsin environmental protection, Senator?
And it came out of the blue. I asked in Joint Finance, they added special privileges for our court system for a foreign business, that they have expedited legal challenges to the state Supreme Court, which is stacked by conservatives. And so it's been given so many advantages to Foxconn that it's absolutely crazy. We really need to slow down the process, and I don't understand why it has to be so secretive. I want to make an informed decision. I want to go through, see the contract, see if there's anything there, be able to ask questions. And unfortunately, once it's signed, it's unlike Talgo, when we had the $800 million of federal funds to build high-speed rail in Wisconsin. That contract was signed by Governor Doyle, and Scott Walker came in and broke the contract. My understanding is the way this contract will be structured, that Wisconsin will be on the hook. So unless there are protections built right into the contract that we can see, we're SOL in terms of, and we can't go back. If we get a Democratic governor next year, that governor is going to be prohibited or prevented from trying to change major things in the Foxconn contract. And that's why I would like to see it, to see what provisions are there in case we want to get out. Foxconn can get out. You know, they have, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. Believe me, they can break contracts as quick as we can write them.
So, Tim, I guess my final question today, do you fear this is a contract drafted to bad business principles, or are you fearful of something more nefarious?
Well, I think it's certainly been a political motivations to, you know, help Governor Walker's reelection campaign. I think he's going to use this to bend to say what a great job he's doing in terms of the Wisconsin economy. But even if the Foxconn jobs are added, it still isn't going to deal with the problem that Wisconsinites' per capita income is lower than other states. It's not going to, as a whole, raise all boats with the tide. And so my concern is that this is sort of like a public financing of Governor Walker's campaign. And unfortunately, no matter what happens, he's going to be coming out okay. And even if things don't turn out, he'll spin it so that it made it sound like it's someone else's fault. So it's a very unusual and difficult procedure. In my 33 years in the legislature, I've not seen anything like this, and I doubt anybody else has. It's really a corporate bailout. I hate to be with Americans for Prosperity. They came out against it, and some of the Republican conservatives that talk about corporate welfare or not picking and choosing winners in the economy, this is exactly what's happening.
State Senator Tim Carpenter, a fine Dem from Milwaukee. Not sort of a question so much as a rhetorical statement, sir, but how's this going to be Jim Doyle's fault?
Exactly. Somehow, you raise a good point, though, with Jim Doyle. I remember the Republicans took over when I got to the Senate in 2003, and Jim Doyle had the compacts with the tribes, and the Republicans went bonkers because they said they wanted the legislature to have information that Jim Doyle negotiated these compacts with the tribes, and they went bonkers. They went crazy, calling him Diamond Jim and all these names in the book. And
Tim, sorry to cut you short. State Senator Tim Carpenter, as I said, that wasn't exactly a question, sir. We're out of time. More Devil's Advocates when we come back.
You want answers?
I was kept pretty much in the dark.
I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom.
You know, I'm an Eagle Scout.
You can't handle the truth!
You know, they can go suck lemons.
I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five Nines comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five Nines has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crute Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Going through divorce is a very emotional time in someone's life, and when I went through my first divorce, I really needed someone to help me through the legal aspects of what my rights were. That's why I got in contact with Lawton & Cates.
The attorneys at Lawton & Cates. It's who you turn to for legal advice. 282-6200 or lawtoncates.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton & Cates.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only ordering classic corner tavern.
In Wisconsin, the laws are the same for bicyclists and motorists, so if you bike, ride with the traffic and obey signs and lights. Whether you ride a bike or drive a car, you must yield the right of way to pedestrians at marked and unmarked crosswalks. At intersections, always look for pedestrians before making a turn, and slow down in school zones and neighborhoods to keep our kids safe. Share and be aware. We're all responsible. Visit shareandbeaware.org to learn more.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty 608-284-9311 or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
What? Why? Just wait for the inheritance. We've definitely got a rich uncle somewhere. We're one call away from the winner's circle at the Derby, dinners with multiple forks, a vacation home in the country, using summer as a verb.
You don't actually think that, do you?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. Phone lines are open if you have an opinion, 844-967-2789.
Want to thank our most recent guest, a fine one, State Senator Tim Carpenter, a Dem from Milwaukee. He is a WEDC board member, but that doesn't seem to carry much clout these days.
Not if you're a Dem, it doesn't.
No. No, just sit back and take it, Tim. Now, the part that's really infuriating to me is the fact that Walker gets to, what, stamp this on our ass in permanent ink?
Carve it in stone.
How can he make this a bulletproof, can't go backwards deal, but only for the state taxpayers? But Foxconn has the right to, what, back out of their end?
Well, we should
and we would still be on the hook for at least the upfront investment.
But let's think about
We're investing money already.
You know, I would start from the premise of, okay, If this thing goes south, how do we protect the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin? First question.
Walker doesn't care.
First, I get it, but that is the absolute, as a lawmaker, as anybody has anything to do with this project.
What's the downside and how do we protect against that sort of liability?
That is the first approach to this deal, and I would say any deal.
Wasn't that the claim Walker used to kill high-speed rail? The ongoing maintenance cost was, untenable, and therefore we couldn't do it. But what he failed to mention was that we were already on the hook for the Talgo, and that we were already on the hook for the train cars. And although we will never utilize them, we expended more money getting out of that contract than all of the ongoing maintenance expense for like 2 decades. That was his complaint. And he blew more than that, killing $1 billion almost
for a political
infrastructure,
purpose.
Other people's money, Wisconsinites' taxes being repaid to the state of Wisconsin in infrastructure investment. But no, we don't want that billion. We don't want the Medicaid money. We don't want the high-speed internet money. But we will give $4 billion to a foreign corporation. It makes no freaking sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense. Here is Walker selling the Kestrel failure. Let's not forget.
People like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, Meg Whitman and others apply that technology but have the optimism and the entrepreneurial spirit and then the workforce to back them up and really transformed our economy in a way that little saw being projected out 25, 30 years ago.
Name drop, say words like entrepreneurial and optimism, and then drop the mic.
We're dead last in startups, 50 out of 50. This guy invests in old technology, gives tax breaks to manufacturers, and gives away the farm, the house, and the kitchen sink to a foreign corporation that will pay no taxes effectively, even if highly profitable here in the state of Wisconsin. It's a crap deal.
And you don't get to see the contract before you commit.
And it cannot be nullified under any circumstance.
Great!
Tattoo it on his forehead. He owns Foxconn. More Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back on WRD 1510 AM.
I love being governor.
What would you say you do here?
I'm an Eagle Scout.
Not going to work here anymore.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
They can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise? Something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
The Devil's Advocates.
Well, if the rapture comes, I hope they take me and leave Dom.
If the rapture comes, we'll be here tomorrow, Mike, taking your calls. We certainly appreciate it. 844-967-2789.
Come on, man. You must mean the royal we.
So relevant, they have 1 foot in tomorrow.
Hey, if you want to go meet your maker, Crudy, don't let me stop you.
I'm your maker, man.
844.
You've already met him.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
Transparency Pledge, the highest honor. I'm Rich Johnson.
We owe the families that have fallen more information, and that's what the investigation is designed to identify.
Marine General Joseph Dunford Jr., chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff on the Pentagon investigation into the ambush in Niger that killed 4 U.S. soldiers. One big remaining question: why was the body of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson found about a mile from the scene of the battle?
What you're asking is a fair question, but we don't know that definitively right now. I can't answer it definitively.
Dunford says once the investigation's complete, they'll tell the families and then tell the public.
Mike, we honor you. We thank you. We salute you.
President Trump speaking to retired Army Captain Gary Michael Rose, the latest recipient of the Medal of Honor. Rose was a 22-year-old medic in Vietnam in 1970 when he risked his own life several times to rescue others during a firefight. The president says on Twitter there will be no change in the cap on contributions to 401k savings accounts. Recent reports said the Republicans were considering lowering from $18,000 a year to just $2,400, the maximum amount you can put away income tax-free. Fire crews around Los Angeles are on high alert, anticipating any blazes that might pop up that would be fueled by Santa Ana winds. The mercury will be near 100 today. The nearly nationwide Mega Millions lottery is joining its competitor Powerball in charging $2 a ticket, but the minimum jackpot's going up to $40 million. Boeing's the big winner thanks to a new deal to sell planes to Singapore.
The Prime Minister and I witnessed a contract signing between Singapore Airlines, a great airline, and Boeing, worth more than $13.8 billion.
President Trump had a joint appearance in the White House Rose Garden with Singapore's Prime Minister. Big drop for General Electric led a down day on Wall Street after small gains early. The Dow closed down 55. The NASDAQ lost 42. I'm Richard Johnson.
How can Chris be so relaxed when his big interview is today? Because he searched jobs on Glassdoor.com. Out of millions of listings, he filtered by distance and salary to find the job that was right for him. He researched the company on Glassdoor too. He read employee reviews. He knows they have great medical, even free Donut Fridays. So he has nothing to worry about and everything to look forward to. Glassdoor. Find the job that fits your life. Go to Glassdoor.com or download the app today.
This is Charles Osgood. Since auto owners insurance began in 1916, the world has entered the information age of computers, email, and smartphones. While technology continues to advance, we believe people help people best. That's why you'll only find auto owners insurance from your local independent agent, a real person who protects your life, family, and business. Auto owners insurance, 100 years of putting people first.
In Richland, call the Goplin Insurance Agency at 608-647-2114.
It's the next level for one of the investigations into the actions of movie producer Harvey Weinstein. The Attorney General of the state of New York has opened a civil rights investigation.
Eric Schneiderman sent a subpoena to the Weinstein Company asking for a wide variety of documents and other information. New York's Attorney General said that no New Yorker should be forced to walk into a workplace ruled by sexual intimidation, harassment, or fear. The AG's Civil Rights Bureau asked for personnel files, hiring and promotion practices, all complaints of sexual harassment or discrimination, and records about how those complaints were handled, according to a person who saw the subpoena. The AG also wants any information about private out-of-court settlements. Steve Kastenbaum, New York.
Is there a serial killer stalking Tampa? Police are warning residents of the Seminole Heights neighborhood to be on high alert after the shooting deaths of 3 people since October 9th. I'm Richard Johnson.
What if hiring could be easier, less time-consuming, with more qualified candidates and faster results? What if hiring could be smarter? Thanks to ZipRecruiter, it can be. With one click, post your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, so you don't spend time wondering where the right candidates are searching. Then ZipRecruiter uses its smart matching technology to scan millions of active resumes and notify the most qualified candidates to apply for your job. And the ZipRecruiter dashboard makes it easy to review, rate, and contact candidates, all in one place. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter makes it simple for growing businesses of all sizes to hire the right people, no matter the industry. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
We're so confident ZipRecruiter will get you the results you need. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Good afternoon. It is 4:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Milwaukee has dropped in the rankings for entrepreneurial business growth.
The Milwaukee metro area, including Waukesha and West Allis, fell to 33rd place from 26th place last year. The rankings come from the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation, one of the leading entrepreneurships and advocacy research organizations in the nation. The report looked at the rate of startup growth, the share of scale-ups, and the density of high-growth companies. Tonight, rain after 1 a.m., lows in the upper 40s. Tomorrow, rain likely, highs in the upper 40s as well. And Wednesday, partly sunny, highs around 50. Currently, it is 53 degrees in Milwaukee and 52 in Waukesha. For 1510 a.m., WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. And Dom, well, we're always moving Wisconsin forward.
Especially when we speak with our thumbs.
I'd like to look back towards Friday night. Did a little whining on the show Friday, and then we had an event on. We snuck off.
Well, that's right. That was Friday?
That was Friday. Seems like a long time ago.
It does.
Friday night, we had a little event. It was, the
Milwaukee Press Club inductees.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that's the word I'm looking for. We are not in anyone's Hall of Fame.
You're in my Hall of Fame, Crudy.
Look forward to our induction therein.
Next year, perhaps.
But we were at the Milwaukee Press Club Hall of Fame induction, and there were some fine inductees. Eric Vaughn was inducted posthumously. I hate that word. After death. Some living fine awardees were our friend Mike Goucher. Some others. I'm sorry, I don't have the bill in front of me. But here's the point I would make. First person I saw walking into the Potawatomi Casino, other than yourself, Speaker Robin Voss. And he was damn cordial to me as well. We were walking in differing directions. And the speaker actually, I would say, changed direction significantly, crossed a hallway, and shook my hand. My jaw damn near dropped, Dom.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure we were on friendly basis. No, I've called him a friend before, but he's not come back since then.
Did you do the bro hug?
No bro hug.
No bro hug.
He was there with his new wife, the lovely and talented Michelle Lichkins. I wonder if she's adopting his name, Voss. Michelle Voss. Mrs. Voss. Mrs. Speaker. So anyways, I see the two. I shake both their hands. I congratulate them. I mean, they're just back from their wedded bliss nuptials in Ireland.
Wedding you know way too much, man. I don't know. I didn't know they got married. I don't know.
I knew when Speaker Voss passed the budget, he said, I'm not coming back because he was going off on his honeymoon.
Oh, okay.
But there were some Republicans, some terroristic sorts over on the Senate side that made it quite difficult for the Speaker to be a cordial guy. And here's what I realized. He went on Goucher's show. Goucher, a new honoree, congratulations, Michael, to the Milwaukee Press Club Hall of Fame. And Robin Voss, who was sitting at the table with his new wife, Charlie Sykes, my first opportunity to, meet the never-Trumper turned liberal on MSNBC. I call him an opportunist, but...
Wait, liberal?
Well, he plays a liberal on the television. He stole my TV spot with MSNBC.
But, in what way is he... how is he liberal?
Well, he appears on MSNBC.
So that makes him a liberal?
As far as the Republicans
Alan Colmes
are concerned.
appeared on Fox News.
Yeah. Are you analogizing Alan Combs and Charlie Sykes?
Alan Combs is about as much of a conservative as Charlie Sykes is a liberal.
Well, I think he is an opportunist, and that was the greater point. You know, he changes his stripes, much like the tiger.
Not really.
Charlie Sykes has had a few political change of hearts through his lifetime. Our boy Earl Ingram, the morning host right here on WRD 1510 AM, walked up to Charlie Sykes and spooked him a little bit. And Charlie seemed a little taken aback when Earl walked right up, shook his hand.
Well, Earl used to just bust everybody's chops.
And Earl introduced him. Hey, remember when I used to call your show, Charlie?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I swear to God, Charlie Sykes, I thought, reach for his wallet. I thought he was going to give it to Earl right there.
Come on.
A little fearful of the black man, I think, Charlie. I just wasn't expecting to be accosted by a former caller, apparently, on the show. But anyways, I digress. Here's the point. Speaker Voss had already done Goucher's show. That's a pre-record. We've had the good fortune of being on it twice. They recorded Friday morning. So by Friday night, when we were at the event, and Speaker Voss seemed all friendly and giddy and happy, well, he had already called a few of the Republican senators in the state of Wisconsin terrorists.
Here from Jason Stein in the Journal Sentinel is what he says. Voss has a litany of budget complaints about conservatives, including their successful efforts to block an increase in the gas tax to pay for roads. Speaking with Mike Goucher on WISN TV, Voss vented over the weekend, saying the veto talks between the holdout senators and Governor Scott Walker amounted to obstructionism. Here's what Voss said on the Sunday program. Frankly, I wish Governor Walker had not negotiated with terrorists. Goucher responds, you're calling them rogue senators and terrorists? That's what they are, said Voss. Now, Crudy, I heard you say that last week before Voss said that.
Well, that's one thing that Scott Walker and Ronald Reagan have in common. They both negotiated with terrorists.
Come on.
Dom, a piece earlier at the Journal Sentinel. I want to get a couple of the quotes. Now, the speaker called, Nas and Kapinga.
And Strobel. Dewey?
Dirty Dewey Strobel called them terrorists. Here is what a few of them had to say about Voss. Where is it? Now, they've already moved this. Stephen Nas said, it is beyond outrageous for anyone, especially a person. Now, remember, he's being called a terrorist. But Senator Nas says, it is beyond outrageous for anyone, especially a person serving as Speaker of the Wisconsin State Assembly, to label as a terrorist another person for simple public policy disagreements. You know, I think that the Wankinator labeled the protesters terrorists and worse, but I read on. Nas said in a statement, worse yet, when given the opportunity in the interview to retract or recalibrate such a reprehensible statement, Speaker Voss firmly reiterated it. Again, the statement, frankly, I wish Governor Walker had not negotiated with terrorists, but there are other statements. Scott Fitzgerald, the Senate Majority Leader, said, it is unacceptable the word terrorist was used to describe... I'm sorry. This is Tom Ebenson. He's the spokesman for the Wankinator. Ebenson said, it's unacceptable the word terrorist was used to describe good public servants at a time when our men and women in uniform are fighting terrorism around the world.
Here's what Fitzgerald said. Negotiating vetoes is as much a part of the budget process as anything else. And the speaker's comments demonstrate a weak grasp on the events that transpired in the hours before the budget was passed on the Senate floor.
I got Dirty Dewey here. Strobel said, the Voss comments are the type of hyperbolic rhetoric Wisconsinites are tired of hearing.
From your president? And Crudy, you led the charge on this, man. I think maybe someone heard it. You were calling them terrorists last week. I'm assuming you mean rhetorically.
Well, I was just following the lead of the speaker.
Oh, were you?
Of the assembly. This is not the first time he's called them terrorists, is it?
It's the first time I've heard him say it. I've heard you say it last week a few times.
I will look that up. Why don't you start with the speaker's statement? Because now, when shamed publicly by his own party, he's apologized in a way.
Yeah, I mean, publicly by his party and
I'm sorry if you were offended. That sort of apology.
Importantly, America for Prosperity also jumped on that bandwagon. So here, Speaker Vos apologizes. Here is, I'll read the first paragraph, Crudy, and then you can take it from there. A statement from Speaker Robin Vos. Every day, there are brave men and women who put their lives on the line across the globe to stop terrorists, and for them, I am extremely grateful. As Speaker, I have strived to increase the civility within the legislature. I now regret using the word terrorist because it goes against the guidelines I've set for our chamber and myself. For that, I apologize.
You think this is an apology?
He just said, for that, I apologize.
Well, for that, for the use of the word terrorist, he might apologize. But this is hardly any sort of apology from the speaker. I read on, it gets better. I continue to be concerned, however, here comes the but.
That's exactly.
That the actions of a few senators who cannot work with their colleagues in their own caucus could disrupt progress on important legislation for the people of Wisconsin. Will we now have to run everything past a few rogue holdouts before committees take executive action in the Assembly? Our caucus communicated regularly on the budget. We talked with each other and with the public. Our members knew what the consensus positions were every step of the budget process, and our outstanding joint finance team fought for Assembly Republican priorities. With good negation comes good faith give and take, but some senators choose to continue taking while threatening a no vote. Every lawmaker has a voice, but we must recognize that we now have large majorities in both houses. Yeah, rub it in, Speaker Vos. If the governor has to negotiate every initiative with more than 80 individual legislators, nothing will get accomplished. The last 7 years proved that we are better when we work together. They can jam stuff through easier that way, Don.
Right.
I don't want to see the constant, defiant demands of a few derail our progress. And here's the end, Dom. Gets really good. We can't let perfect become the enemy of the very, very good. And we must be able to negotiate in good faith in order to continue to deliver our promises.
Baby, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Baby, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
I don't think he's sorry. I think he got shamed for using the word terrorist, and like Wankinator, of course, he's wrapped himself in patriotism. Stand for the American flag. Well, of course, Speaker Vos cannot now call part of his own Republican caucus terrorist, but that's exactly the way they've been acting.
Is this a typo? With good negation comes good faith, give and take. Does he mean negotiation?
I'm not clear.
I'm pretty sure he does.
I quoted directly.
You did.
I did not misread that, did I?
No, you did not.
And there were, indeed, that was not an editorialization. It's the enemy of the very, very good.
So there you go. Speaker Robin Vos, sorry, not sorry.
Rogue, what do you call them? Rogue holdouts.
Listen, I can appreciate it, and I think there's probably some reasonable criticism here of Speaker Vos's language. I mean, Struble, Nas, and who was the other one?
Strobel.
The Axis of Terror, Strobel, Nas, who's the third? I don't have it in front of me.
Kapinga!
Kapinga! They're about as...
You like to put a D behind his name.
They are terrorists in about as much as 3 people protesting together are riotous.
One quick quote. Our friends over at One Wisconsin Now, well, maybe I'll save this one, but it sounds something to this effect. Hey, Robin Vos, it wasn't terrorism. It was executive favor.
Uh-oh.
And in the state of Wisconsin, that's a felony.
Let's get to that next.
Come back, more. Devil's Advocates right here on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, holding Republicans hostage since February of 2017.
But this whole place sucks. Oh, it looks good on you, though.
Does this mean we're not friends anymore? If I thought you weren't my friend, I just don't think I could bear it.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
In Wisconsin, the laws are the same for bicyclists and motorists, so if you bike, ride with the traffic and obey signs and lights. Whether you ride a bike or drive a car, you must yield the right of way to pedestrians at marked and unmarked crosswalks. At intersections, always look for pedestrians before making a turn and slow down in school zones and neighborhoods to keep our kids safe. Share and be aware. We're all responsible. Visit shareandbeaware.org to learn more.
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
First step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise? Something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Pete's Fruit Market, a family-owned business serving Milwaukee for more than a generation, now has a brand new second location at the corner of North Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive in Milwaukee's Brunsville neighborhood. The new store is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week and always features the freshest fruits and vegetables at the lowest prices. In addition to offering the best produce, Pete's Fruit Market is also a full-line grocery store featuring fresh meats and delicious deli items. Pete's Fruit Market, Milwaukee's best produce. Hello, my name is Earl Ingram, morning show host on Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD at a new time slot, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, Saturdays noon to 3. Join us at 844-967-2789, 844-967-2789. Stream us at newstalk1510am.com. Spread the word. Earl Ingram on Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD 7 to 9. I'm back.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 a.m. WRRD. On Facebook, on Twitter. We're on at Devil Radio. We're also on the phones 844-967-2789.
That terrorist word, I've heard it bantered about before. In fact, Scotty Wanker used to call the protesters terrorist or some variant thereof. Did he not, Dom?
He did. We'll see if we
I've
have
got
some
an
of that
article
sound.
right here from the Washington Examiner. February of 2017. This is not ancient news. Let me read briefly. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker backtracked from his previous assertion that his state's teachers and their supporters are terrorists. He now labels them special interests. He did so at this year's speech to conservatives that 2 years ago helped take him out of the top rung of potential GOP presidential contenders. At the 2015 Conservative Political Action Conference, he said, "If I can take on 100,000 protesters, I can do the same across the world." Do you remember that? That moronic...
Yeah.
Do we have the sound? I can't see. Your head's in the way if I look over there.
We're not clear. We're going to have to maybe come back with that. Just to remind everybody that, yes, Governor Walker. So what, you're saying in 2017, he once again compared protesters
Now he
to
calls them
terrorists?
special interest. In 2015, he called them
compared
terrorists.
Terrorists. If I can
Yes.
do the same. If I can handle 100,000 protesters, I can do the same around the world.
Well, Dom, he was responding to an audience member who asked him how he would confront the self-proclaimed Islamic State terrorist group. 2 years later, to the same audience, he now says, "You remember 14 Senate Democrats fled the state to give the special interest, they're now called, time to organize and send protesters in from across the country. At one point, over 100,000 occupied our capital." That's right. The Occupy movement didn't start on Wall Street. It started on my street in Madison, Wisconsin.
This guy's so delusional. He's trying to grab anything to make himself important.
He changed his 2015 rhetoric to show how he became a victim of those protests instead of essentially calling protesters terrorists. Along the way, protesters didn't limit themselves to one place. They were out in front of our executive residence, and they found their way to my home more than an hour from the state capitol. I received death threats. My wife received death threats. My sons, who were still in high school at the time, were targeted on Facebook. The protesters interrupted the dedication of the new Welcome Center, the 100-year celebration of a state park, and the anniversary of a historical technical college. How dare they? Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Come back with us. I've been protesting this guy since day one. Occupy didn't start on Main Street. It started on our street, Wankinator. More Devil's Advocates, WRRD, Resistance Radio. He's the one we're talking about. Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years, assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's three easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
This is the People's Sheriff. I need you to keep listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Can I count on you?
Mark your calendars. Wednesday, November 8th, the ACLU of Wisconsin's Bill of Rights celebration, a year of resistance at the Italian Conference Center in Milwaukee. Dinner and award ceremony starts at 5. After party starts at 8. Dom.
Crudy, the keynote speaker, is the National ACLU Political Director, Faz Shakir. Tickets for the whole evening, $100 per person, or just come to party with the Devil's Advocates and music from Madison's own Whiskey Farm for just $25.
The ACLU is honoring Planned Parenthood, the NAACP Youth Commandos of 1967, the Bray plaintiffs in their case against conditions at Lincoln Hills, and the lead plaintiff in the voter ID case.
The ACLU of Wisconsin's Bill of Rights celebration, Wednesday, November 8th. Go to aclu-wi.org for tickets and more information.
I only drink when I feel good. I've got what I love and I love what I've got. It just so happens I'm happy alive.
Chris Abley and Board Chair Theo Lipscomb have different plans for Milwaukee County. For the past 6 years, Chris Abley has balanced Milwaukee County's budget, reduced debt, and protected vital services without raising property taxes. Abley's fiscally responsible budget proposal this year continues the progress we've made toward a more sustainable future for Milwaukee County. Abley is putting people back to work, but Theo's cuts would end job training programs. Abley's budget maintained, but Theo Lipscomb has a different plan. Theo isn't willing to make the hard choices and is demanding devastating service cuts to our roads and keeps public transit affordable. But Theo's cuts would slash bus routes and delay road repairs. Abley is fighting to keep our parks and senior centers open, but Theo's cuts could shut them down. And while Abley's budget tackles the opioid epidemic, Theo's cuts would hurt public health and make our communities less safe. Call your county supervisor. Tell them to support Chris Abley's budget for Milwaukee County. Paid for by Chris Abley for County Executive.
Good afternoon. It is 4:32 for 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Latin jazz legend Eddie Palmieri is coming to Milwaukee for a benefit concert for the people of Puerto Rico and Mexico this Saturday night. Palmieri is now 80 years old, has been among the most popular Latin jazz and salsa musicians and band leaders for over 40 years. The show will take place at the Potawatomi Casino, and all proceeds will go to the American Red Cross relief efforts for Puerto Rico and Mexico. Palmieri, whose parents immigrated from Puerto Rico to New York City in the 1920s, is the recipient of 10 Grammy Awards. Tonight, rain after 1 a.m., lows in the upper 40s. Tomorrow, rain likely, highs in the upper 40s. And Wednesday, partly sunny, highs around 50. It is currently 53 degrees in Milwaukee and 52 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly.
Occupy didn't start on Wall Street. It started on our street. Tom and Cruz, the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show, talking about terrorism. Dom, here's a little presser from our friends at One Wisconsin Now. Memo to Robin Vos. It wasn't terrorism. It was executive favor. Air quotes. Senate Republican Troika still needs to answer why they violated Wisconsin Statute 13.06. Ooh, I love when you quote me some statutes. Scott Ross. One Wisconsin Now executive director, Scott Ross, released the following statements regarding the latest public fighting between Wisconsin Republicans. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos on Sunday, taped on Friday, accused Governor Scott